One of the issues you'll find when doing flambient shooting and luminosity blending is big shadows from your flash, like you have here, because this is a different level ceiling. You've got a lower level here and a slightly higher level ceiling here. And if I'm shooting the flash as I normally would do, upwards or slightly up and back, you're going to get these heavy shadows. Now when you blend that using luminosity, as you should do to get the correct colors, because you don't have any color here, it's going to replace it with an orangey sort of hue, which is obviously not what you want. Also, because there's a table, this is a separate issue here, I'll cover it while we're doing this. The flash is reflected off this table and created a little highlight streak across the wall and up to the ceiling. And that's going to give the opposite effect. That's going to give you blue tones. So you're going to get blue tones here when you blend it with luminosity, and you're going to get orange tones here. Now obviously while I'm on site, I can alleviate this by using the flash differently. Instead of just what I've done here by doing one shot just above my head, I can do a couple more pops by moving into the higher area by the bed here. I could do one from this side and one from the other side. So in the end, effectively, I've got 3 flash shots, and then I've also got my ambient shot and probably another shot to get rid of the reflections here on the window panes from the flash. Now you end up then with like 5 different shots. It's not going to be very time effective. You really want to do things quickly. I know when you're working for listings, you want to get things done quickly. You don't want to spend too much time on site and too much time editing. It's all about getting things done quickly. Now there's a lot of technical ways you can do to repair this, but I'm going to show you something you can do very, very quickly. So bear with me and let's get into it now. Right, so in Lightroom, the first shot I've got here is my ambient shot. Then I've got my flash shot, as I showed you earlier. And then I've just got another ambient shot, which I've taken by just turning the flash off so that it can bring back some of the detail here in the window, because we have flash reflections here in the window and on the window panes. Okay, so that's my 3 shots. So let's go back to the ambient. I've done some basic corrections using my preset, and then I've just made a slight alteration to the exposure. What I'm also going to do, which is really important for this particular issue with the shadows, is that I use my white balance picker to select the white area here on the ceiling. That's really important, and I'll show you why very shortly. Now, moving across to the flash shot, I'm just going to do the same thing here to match up this area to make sure that that white balance is in the same area. So both of these ceilings have that same nice white color. And on the third one, I'm just going to use that. I'm just going to balance that for the view and for the window pane here. Just make sure that the white balance is good for the view. That's the only thing I'm interested in, really, is this area here. Not that it's a good view, not that it's a very interesting photo. It's just a little Airbnb that I shot over the weekend. So sometimes we have to slum it. So let's move all 3 of these, select them all. So you just hold down the shift button and click on the last one of the series. Now you're going to right click and then edit those, and edit and then open as layers in Photoshop. Boom. So that'll transfer over to Photoshop in just a few seconds. Let that open up. Okay, so once that's done, the first thing I want to do is make a copy of my ambient layer. So we're just going to hit Command J. Okay, and that'll make you a copy, and it will show copy right next to it. Now, when you're doing your blending, you want your ambient, then your flash. So I'm going to move my flash underneath my ambient. So I've got there at the top my flash just underneath the first ambient one. So there we go. There's my copy, there's my flash, there's my other ambient, and there's my window repair. So what I'm going to do now is align all of these layers as we always do. Just select them all. Again, holding shift and clicking on the last one will select the whole series. Now I've got a shortcut that I've programmed for this, so I'm going to do Shift Command L, and it will bring up my auto align layers. But if you haven't got that done, you can just go into Edit and Auto Align Layers. Click on that, make sure it's on auto, and then just click OK. Just wait for that to align, and you'll know that it's aligned because you'll see a little bit of the background appear as it's just moved those layers around to make sure that everything is lined up. Okay, perfect. So now we want to just highlight the top layer, and I'm going to mask that. So I'm going to just go down to here where it says layer masks. If someone could tell me how to turn off these little prompts, that would be great. Just hold down Option and click, and it will give you a hide mask. Okay, so now we're going to turn on luminosity as always. Okay, always luminosity, and we use that purely because that will give you the correct colors. If you use normal, then it will give you all of the ambient colors that you don't want coming into your photo. So hit B for brush. You can see what I'm selecting here. I've got a brush around about 600. My opacity is always on 100. My flow I keep around 10 to 15, something like that. But you can move that around to however suits you. So now I'm going to bring in some of the ambient layers, some of the natural shadows and natural light coming in from the window. With my photos, I always like to make everything as realistic as possible. I don't want it to be really flashy looking. Otherwise, it just gives you a very one-dimensional image, and there's no natural shadows, and it looks like you've used a flash. So first of all, I can see there's a problem here in the background. We've got some shadow behind the lamp. So anyway, I'm going to go around here anyway to bring in some of the ambient light and just paste that in. Now, as you can see, when I go and brush over this area here where the heavy shadows are, it's got rid of that shadow, but it leaves this orange hue underneath. It's not too prominent on this one, but it's definitely there, and it will show really badly on a lot of images that you do if you're not careful. So we'll come back to that. So I'm going to continue with my natural light that I want coming in, and you can see as I brush over this area here where that highlight streak was, you can see a blue line appear. Let me just finish what I'm doing, and I'll come back to that. Now, as I go around this area, I'm going to bring in some shadows by the bed. Now, you don't have to do as much as I do. It's up to you, but this is how I like to do things. So now, I don't want this much shadow here because it makes a bit of a mess on the wall. To get rid of that, just hit X, and it will change your background to black instead of white, your foreground. And then you can just go over that area and get rid of those shadows that you don't want. If I don't want so much shadow here, I can again just go over that area there, and same with the chairs. However you like, but I want a little bit of natural shadow, and I want it to look nice and realistic, not too flashy. Okay, so I'm happy with that, apart from the obvious orange here and that nasty blue section there. So what we're going to do now is just merge those top two. I'm finished with those now. I don't need those anymore. And I'm going to raise my ambient, which I made a copy earlier, to the top, and I'm going to mask. Okay, so just move it to the top and then mask. And now we're not going to change it to luminosity. We're just going to keep it on normal. And because we use the white balance in Lightroom to make sure that this roof is all the correct colors, we can literally just brush over that. Now I've got it on black, so I need to change that back so that it's on white to reveal, and just brush over. And as I brush over that, you can see that that has now gone. Perfect. Now with this blue area here, we can do the same thing. Done. I think that looks pretty good, but that's got rid of it, and that's done it very, very quickly. Now there's lots of ways you can do this, don't get me wrong, but this is a really quick way to do it. And then you've got rid of that nasty orange and nasty blues. Now another issue you can see on here is some color cast coming in from outside. So we've got some greeny sort of colors coming in here. Now I've shown you how to get rid of these quickly before in my color cast tutorial, but we'll do it again at the end of this one as well, just to show you, so stick around for that. Now, so let's merge those two down now, so I don't need to use those layers anymore, and I'm going to bring my window repair to the top. Again, go down and mask that, and then I'm just going to brush in to get rid of that reflection on the window pane. Very quickly done. So now all we need to worry about is a little bit of the color cast around here. So I'm just going to merge those two layers together again. We're going to go and select the ceiling. So I'm going to use the lasso tool, but you can use the wand tool or whatever you fancy. I'm going to show you a quick way to do it with the lasso tool. So just go around the outside of the area, and it takes a few seconds to do that. And once you get to the final one, you can double click and it will join them up together. So the issue when you remove this is you don't really want to affect this area here. So you can remove that area. Just hit W for wand and then just click on that. Ooh, minus, not plus. Click on the lampshade and it should select that for you. Doesn't have to be ultra perfect. Now I've got my selection made of the ceiling area that I have trouble with, just hit Command J and that'll bring up a new layer. Go to Filter and then Camera Raw Filter. Now we can just go into the color mixer and remove any of the colors we don't want. So let's have a look. Green looks prominent, so let's just remove that, and maybe some blues. If you want, you can remove some of the oranges in there as well. Thing to do here is, rather than think, oh, maybe I don't want so much, just remove them all down to -100, commit the changes, and if you don't think that looks good, you can always bring it back. Now I'm happy with how that is. The ceiling looks perfect. There's no orange here, and that doesn't take long, and I've shown you that. Obviously it takes a bit slower to explain it and do it at the same time, but once you get used to doing things like this, you'll be able to finish an edit like that in no time at all. I hope that helped. Please like and comment and share. Let me know what videos you'd like me to do next, and I'm happy to help. Thank you very much.